So for many people, the holiday season is one of great joy and happiness. In fact, families typically make plans to spend this time with loved ones, old friends, and sometimes long-lost relatives. In fact, gifts are exchanged, for instance. Meals are also shared, and everybody is expected to be happy in some respects. However, for many people, feelings of loneliness could be heightened around this time of the year. Also, the feeling of being outside the norm of a big family Christmas can also be quite painful. It can be a very difficult time, without a doubt, for bereaved people as well, and equally challenging for those who've recently been divorced. So, social and mindset counselor Thabang Mashigo joins us now via our video link to unpack how to deal with those, call it, festive season blues. And Thabang, it's great to have you on the program. Thanks so much for making time. I wonder whether you think, or whether you'd agree with the fact that much of the work that needs to be done as a start is destigmatizing the idea that people do get lonely during the festive season. Thabang, it appears... Oh, there you are. Go ahead.
Honest. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Please go ahead.
Fantastic. I was just saying the irony of what you've just said is it's going to be a blue Christmas, so the colors are changing. And indeed, it is a difficult time for many people, as you've alluded to. It does tend to destigmatize what Christmas is and what it should be. Remember, dealing with loneliness, it's more of a psychological and emotional outlet than it is a physical, or rather it even translates physically. So, the question that we also should be discussing is how can we then facilitate social change within our families through difficult conversations? And I've just got very small and brief nuggets to contribute to the discussion. And the first is, one, dealing with loneliness and, of course, with our families in this season. How do we then set conversational boundaries? That's critical. And the second is to also prepare a de-escalation of some sort, de-escalational tactic. For example, if people ask you uncomfortable questions, how do you sort of worm it down to, an answer that you perhaps are comfortable to give at the time? The third would be, how do we focus on fun family bonds, doing things differently, because indeed things are different. So we could introduce having pals within the family, or we can introduce Christmas being at a different location, or we can introduce, activities that could really stimulate or rather ease down on the pain and talking about difficult discussions. And lastly, I would then suggest alternative topics, talking about different things. But then, of course, the question would be, how do you answer the difficult questions that do come up? How do we set boundaries?
Yeah.
And it's okay to say, at this point in time, I'm not comfortable engaging with the matter, or to perhaps say, I'll let you know a bit later. Right now, we're still having fun.
Yeah. I want to unpack just, an aspect of your response, at least from the beginning of your remarks. I mean, the fact that loneliness is more of a psychological reality means that we need to make a distinction between loneliness and being alone. The inverse of that is that you could be in the company of people and still feel lonely.
That's quite right. Absolutely. And this is why it's a psychological and more internal, matter, because we've got what we call a locus of control. Your locus of control is how you manage your internal affairs without having or needing external influence to help you with it. And you're quite right. You can be in a room of people, or you can be at home and still feel lonely. So for me, to protect your peace, it's also very important to avoid situations that could potentially impact you negatively. I found with a lot of the consultations I've had with some of my clients that this year, based on grief, loss, even loss of jobs and so forth, a lot of people are avoiding. So I think there's a lot of understanding that also needs to be exercised in the season, to be around people that can really embrace you in the seasons that you potentially face and in the times that you're in. And just besides embrace, be able to support you, to say, hey, I know you don't want to be around people. I know today you're not feeling good because perhaps it's the first Christmas without your mother, without your father. Let us know what you need. We're available for that. And also part of loneliness as well is it comes with the difficulty of being able to communicate. People also struggle. Some people don't know how to speak about their emotions. So what environment are you creating for yourself in this festive season that could, one, protect your peace, two, help you maybe mourn and grieve a little better, and also three, an environment that will support you and also help you be patient. I mean, sometimes it's not good to be stuck in bed on Christmas Day with curtains closed, right? That won't be good. So try to find ways that could accompany the change that you are facing.
Yeah. Often these conversations, Thabang, are centered around us speaking with the victim in mind, and rightly so. I think there's space and room for that. But, I mean, somebody has to be the toxic cousin, Somebody has to be the problematic uncle. And I wonder whether, we spend enough time discussing ways through which we can also go through a level of self-examination this festive season to question and probe whether we might be on the wrong side of this discussion because of our interactions with our families.
Yeah. I mean, 100%, Diane, and I laugh because oftentimes the problematic uncle or the problematic aunt is the one with the greatest wisdom in the family, right? They can get you out of trouble. You'd be shocked, to discover that. And you're quite right. But on the element of self-introspection, I think this is where awareness comes in, where you're able to apply that corrective button or corrective behavior. And oftentimes, we are so quick, like you're saying, to apply criticism to people that prospectively make us feel uncomfortable or make us feel uncomfortable in general, right? And at times, for you to correct your behavior, you also need to understand your triggers as a person, because the adult that you are today says a lot about the childhood that you had. There's another friend of mine, Dr. Thabang Mashigo, who would say, Mashigo, how you love says a lot about how you were raised. And in saying that, or by saying that, it's also very important in the season to then understand what are the triggers that come from your traumas, right? So, for example, I know at family gatherings, people are most likely to comment on your weight. Hey, you've gained so much weight, or hey, you've lost so much weight, are you stressed, or it's very difficult. Some people in our families, we don't give them space to come out and say, hey, actually, I'm not heterosexual, I'm homosexual, and I have a girlfriend instead of a boyfriend like you expect me to. Other people have lost their jobs, right? So we can't club in like we used to and contribute to what we might know as the family lunch or Christmas lunch and so forth. And this is where you need to find a person who you could seek counsel from, a person who's a confidant within your family that would really help you be, comfortable and settle in. And usually it's that problematic uncle or aunt who would say, if you can just get me a beer, I'm sure I can find a way to help you through that. But besides that, I think also we are more sensitive now because of the pain that we've been, or rather the gravity of the loss that we've experienced as a society and also within our families. So also, your approach is critical. It's not about what you say, Ayanda, it's how you say it and how you make people feel. There are people in the family, when they arrive, immediately everybody steps out. You got to be observant about what do people do when they're around you, but also most importantly, be cognizant of what you say. And this is why it's not good to drink when you have problems, because the moment you see the person that you want to confront, things are going to go down and it won't be as nice, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I agree with saying that understand your triggers, understand what triggers you because of your traumas, and be quite approachable and apply emotional intelligence, especially when you're being provoked. There's nothing wrong with silence. There's nothing wrong with walking away. There's nothing wrong with avoidance. It's okay. Protect your peace and protect the peace of others at all costs.
It's on that insightful note that we'll leave it. Plenty to think about, so much nuance to consider. Thanks for breaking it down for us. Really do appreciate your time and your insights this morning. Thabang Mashigo, a social and mindset counselor. Once again, thanks very much indeed.